Tobash, and I'm here in Schuylkill County with Gerry Heffner. He's the Vice President of SEDCO, which is the Schuylkill Economic Development Corporation, and that's a big deal for us in the state of Pennsylvania right now because that talks about economic development, and one of the major issues that we are dealing with in our platform, our agenda, is creating jobs. So Gerry, thank you very much for meeting with me today, and I appreciate SEDCO's effort in making Schuylkill County a viable place for businesses to locate and to help facilitate people in creating jobs.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit more about SEDCO?
SEDCO is an economic development organization. It's a nonprofit agency. It's been in existence, it'll be 60 years as of 2012. It started as a volunteer organization, grassroots, local volunteers back in the early 50s, that when the coal industry declined, they were looking for opportunities to bring jobs into the area. There was double-digit unemployment, and out of that was born the profession of economic development. For about 30 years since the inception of economic development back in the 50s. Again, it was all volunteer-based. Community leaders got together. They looked to run capital campaigns to acquire real estate, develop industrial parks, of which there's now 12 in this county. But sometime around the 70s, early 70s, it became more of a profession where once you get involved with issues like land development planning and zoning and subdivision, it becomes more complex and it became more of a full-time profession. So we've been around, as I said, for 60 years. I've been at SEDCO for 11 years, and I enjoy the work very much. We get to work and interact with your office and all the other legislative delegation and the federal agencies, the state departments, the local municipal governments, county government, and it really is, and you hear the word partnership a lot, and it truly is. SEDCO doesn't operate in a vacuum. We need the involvement of all the agencies that I just mentioned and more to get projects done and to bring new jobs to the area.
You know, we talk about this pieces. There's an awful lot of pieces. It's like a puzzle to put these projects together.
Every project's different. You never know what's going to happen, and every day is different. Right now, our office is involved probably with about 12 different projects. Some of them are startup businesses. Some of them are existing businesses like Empire Education, where they just went through a major expansion on Route 61, a multi-million-dollar expansion, adding over 150 jobs, and new recruits into the county. A company out of Elizabethtown is locating a second facility in Tamaqua in the Tide Industrial Park. That's new construction. It'll be done by January of next year and employing about 24 people. So it's quite vast what we do here in our offices. But again, nothing happens without the involvement of all the partners that we all know and work with.
Yeah. You know, I read the newspaper today and I looked at the number of employed people in Schuylkill County. It's around 50,000, give or take, depending on what our unemployment rate is. And you talk about creating 24 jobs. You know, sometimes people look at that and say, wow, 24 jobs. But it's meaningful work. 24 jobs just don't happen.
One job is just as important as 24 in my opinion. And you look at each project on an individual basis, and this is a solid company, Highline USA, and they are paying good wages, and they're under contract with Santa Fe Pasteur out of Pocono to provide a product to them under contract for the next 10 years. So when we evaluate a project, we often involve all of our board members in that region, visit the company, get to understand their philosophy of doing business, make sure that everybody's interests are represented at the table, and make sure that when we're ready to announce a project that everybody's on board and ready to move in the same direction.
One of the most meaningful undertakings that you guys have done in, and I won't even say in recent history, within the last 60 years has been the High Ridge Industrial Park. Mm-hmm. It's not in the 125th district. However, a few years ago I served as the chairman of the United Way campaign to raise money, and we ended up at a lot of businesses in the High Ridge Industrial Park, and I realize how that has regional impact on our area. It's a real success story. Can you tell us about some of the businesses that are located there now?
Sure. Probably be good to start at the beginning. Back in 1996, 97, just before I joined SEDCO, High Ridge Business Park was just 2,000 acres of woodlands, and we were working on getting infrastructure into the park. Before you can recruit any business, you have to have public water, public sewage, electric, and all those good things. And right about that time, when the federal prison was completed, that brought those utilities across that mountaintop. So that was just perfect timing. The first tenant in the park was Lowe's Distribution. That was when, I guess, the Governor, Tom Ridge, was on board and made the announcement of that project. Over 600 jobs. Since then, we've recruited and assisted up to 10 businesses in that park. Other companies I can mention, Sara Lee Corporation, they're in the park. They developed their site about 3-4 years ago. company out of the Midwest, Gordon Food Services. They're one of the most recent recruits into the park. Wegmans located their second only distribution and processing facility other than up in Rochester, New York here at High Ridge, and they're employing close to 400 people now. They're going through a major expansion, as you know, and they'll be employing another 120 people in the next 3 years. So that's just a couple of the companies that are up there.
That's great. I look forward to working with your department, your agency, on creating more jobs, and particularly in the 125th district, the southern Schuylkill County area. And you've got a couple of industrial sites there. Can we talk about any of those? You've got one in Pine Grove? Yeah.
Yep. Pine Grove Industrial Park. Actually, we're looking for more real estate in and around Pine Grove Industrial Park because that park is now 100% occupied. We're talking to Moen. They have some residual land that we're looking to possibly acquire from them to develop future projects. But the most recent project down in Pine Grove Industrial Park was Solar Innovations. It's a privately owned company started by a dynamic individual who has just exceeded the state's targeted employment that he had promised in 3 years of 79 jobs. He's up to 124 jobs. He's outgrown his over 200 square foot building that he built in the park, and now he just acquired another building from us in the Pine Grove Industrial Park. And we're actually going to have our board meeting next month down there. You're invited to attend as always. So that's a great success story, and we hope to do more down in that region.
Well, look, I'll be happy to be attending that meeting, and I'm happy to be able to come and let the SEDCO board members know what's going on in Harrisburg. I think it's important to keep these lines of communication open, find out what's important.
It is very important to keep up with all the new and changing regulations and everything that you're aware of, and we appreciate your help.
Thank you very much, and we're doing our very best to make it easier to do business. Again, I'm State Representative Mike Tobash. I appreciate your time. Please stay tuned for some further videos, and you can get our contact information on the screen. Thanks.